This is a journey, a challenge, an experiment. Join me as I try one of the most basic things in life, walking. Together we'll journey between three very different lighthouses, from the Burnham-on-Sea Low Lighthouse in Somerset to Hartland Point at the tip of North Devon, before heading due south to explore Smeaton Tower in Plymouth. But this is not a film about lighthouses, beautiful as they are. This is about slowing down and stripping life back to the basics, embracing the moments as they unfold. Let's simply experience life as we pass it by, one foot in front of the other. Together we'll savour the colours, the scenery, the rain, as we explore the peaceful and beautiful countryside along the border of Devon and Cornwall in the southwest of England. Day 1. Start at the end of the line. It's 5:30 in the morning and I'm just about on schedule as I approach a local landmark, the Burnham Low Lighthouse. For over 190 years, a beacon of reassurance to seafarers navigating these muddy estuarine waters. And to me, a fitting start to a greatly anticipated adventure. I'm walking, belly full of breakfast and backpack heavy on my back, breathing the crisp morning air as I try to settle my stride to a comfortable pace. There is nobody else around. I have a schedule to keep. I have just shy of a 4-mile walk, about 6 kilometres, to get to the railway station, to catch a train which should take me to a second train, to get on a bus which will take me to a second bus and lead me to find the official start of my journey. I've done a fair bit of walking recently, but not with a pack this heavy. I wonder if it contains everything I need, or have I overpacked and weighed myself down with useless equipment or clothing I won't require? What on earth am I doing? Hello and welcome everyone. It's another beautiful day to be in the outside.
Aboard this Great Western Railway service to Penzance. The next station is Exeter St David's.
Ever felt trapped in the routine of life? Like an ill-fitting cog in the machine we call society? Uncomfortable with having to fit tightly with all the other cogs? Always turning and repeating and turning. You do the same things and get the same results, over and over and over. Well, how about a reset? Control-Alt-Delete, or at least just do something differently. Challenge yourself, push a little harder, embrace discomfort, and leverage a new experience in this patchwork we call life. Well, the first step toward getting somewhere is deciding that you're not going to stay where you are. And having recently reached what felt like a significant birthday milestone, I decided to do just that. To simply put one foot in front of the other and go for a walk. My plan was to keep it simple. To put life on hold for a few days and just walk in nature, to recharge, experience some of life's variety by simply walking past it, stopping when I needed to, and taking in the experience as it unfolded. I would travel alone, positive, independent, and curious. All I had to do was keep walking. I mean, walking, how hard can it be? Have you tried it recently? Just walking? For most of us, it's pretty easy. We do it all the time. Swing one leg forward, then the other, and repeat. And if we can do that, we should not take it for granted. I wanted to experience this simple act, this method of motion, this celebration of simplicity by getting to a location where I could do nothing else but walk. So, having now been unceremoniously dumped by the last bus at the end of the road, I had about a 3-mile walk to get to Hartland Point in beautiful North Devon in the southwest of England. Although I had already been travelling all morning to get this far, I considered this tip of the North Devon coast as the official start of the walking part of my adventure. And what a promising start. A leafy green, enticing footpath led me towards the Hartland Point coastal headland. Then onto paved countryside roads bordered by thick hedgerows to join again with another footpath, and on to the southwest coast path. I had planned, roughly, that I would first sneak a peek at the Hartland Point lighthouse, which is nestled at the end of this dramatic rocky peninsula, and then head south. But having walked this beautiful but challenging part of the coast path in the past, I decided that this time my southerly journey would quickly move away from the coast and I would walk inland, through what was for me the relative unknown. I intended to continue south towards and along the Devon and Cornwall county border, loosely following the River Tamar that forms that border, and parts of the Tamara coast-to-coast way. But I was adamant not to be bound by the jurisdictions imposed by a map or a guidebook. I would simply wander where I wished and use the time I had to walk as far as I could. And so here I was on a warm but grey day. My walking journey had at last begun, celebrated with a mango and papaya smoothie. You can no longer get to the lighthouse at Hartland Point, which is a shame, but there it is as you round the headland, still standing firm, staring face on towards the mighty Atlantic Ocean. For 150 years a landmark from both land and sea. There were a handful of other walkers on the path at this point. It's a popular trail, and rightly so. The views along this section of the coast are stunning. Well worth a visit if you can, but oh my goodness, the trail is steep in places. Winding continuously up and down, it's well marked. But the inclines and subsequent declines are significant enough in places to require rough steps cut into the side of the hill. Sometimes the steps help, sometimes they just seem to get in the way. And this would not be the last time I would question the necessary contents and weight of my backpack on this journey. At the start of this adventure, it weighed in at about 22 kilograms or 48.5 pounds, so pushing up those steps was challenging, even painful. And as I headed carefully down them again towards a rugged beach that my map suggested might be called Blegberry, I was very aware of how unsteady this weight made me, slowing my pace, careful to avoid any slips or trips so early on in this adventure. Yep, I'd overpacked, but here I was, already committed to this escapade and well on my way. There wasn't much I could do about it now. Day one on the trail, and I was already reminded of the importance of embracing challenge. I would have to be adaptable. I figured this was key, whether facing rugged terrain or navigating the twists and turns of fate. And anyway, nothing wonderful is ever likely to happen without taking an uncomfortable risk. Having now negotiated the rugged headland for about 2.5 miles or 4 kilometres, I stopped for a quick break. Taking in the North Devon coastal views for the last time, I refueled with snacks and water, before then, as planned, turning to head inland. I planned to wild camp overnight, to experience life in the raw, to simply appreciate whatever came my way. I had 6 days to execute this simple sounding plan, 6 days that I had cleared of all other life priorities, just to see how far I could get and what I might experience. Eager to explore, I would embrace the change, be adaptable, stay curious, all key assets in this ever-changing world. And I just kept walking, following tranquil footpaths, then quiet country roads as I continued on my slow journey south. The coastal scenery had transitioned to rural farmland, and as the scenery changes, so too does the weather. The rain set in. I walk on. I'm weary. The early start, travel and challenging terrain have all taken their toll. My thoughts switch to focus on my next immediate priority.
Well, it's raining. I am absolutely spent now. I've got to find somewhere to sleep. Anywhere from here I'll take. Just no cows. Somewhere quiet out the way. Here we go. Wish me luck. This is going to have to do. Just need to find the corner. Oh, I'm drenched.
I brought with me enough of what I anticipated I might need to both survive and thrive throughout this adventure, and this includes my new and tiny tent. This is the OEX Fox 2 single-person tent. It's not much more than a bivvy really, and great value for occasional use, weighing in at just 1.58 kilograms, about 3.5 pounds. It fitted nicely in the bottom of my backpack, but it is small, and once inside it was impossible to sit upright.
Well, it's going to be pretty cosy, and I can feel my camp mat going down already. But I am so tired. But first I could have something to eat.
I had brought enough of these hermetically sealed sachets of wonder to get me through the next few days. The ready meals were convenient and tasty, meaning I could minimise time spent cooking, yet still look forward to meal times.
Meatballs and pasta. Very nice.
A welcome addition to my backpack. They're easily available by post from Basecamp Foods with free UK delivery. I've put a link in the description if you're interested. Starting from the village of Hartland, North Devon, I had headed to the coast path at Hartland Point before setting my direction south. After heading inland, I had so far walked a total of 9.59 miles, or 15.43 kilometres. I had actually walked a total of around 14 miles, or 22.5 kilometres over the whole day, but considered Hartland to be my official starting point.
Oh, well, good morning. That was fun. I got a little bit cold towards the end of the night, but other than that, it all went okay. I've just managed to get dressed in this tiny tent. Oh my goodness, contortionist. Right, are you ready? Is that a patch of blue over there? I'll take it. Back on the road again.
Day 2, unsuitable for motors. A dull sky greeted me at the start of day 2, yet surely this was to be a day full of promise, the song of a skylark filling the air with hope and expectation. I had packed up camp early, keen to remain unnoticed. A small depression in the grass was the only sign that I had camped overnight. My boots were still wet from the wet grass the day before, and within a few minutes, so too were my feet. I didn't really mind. I was looking forward to another day of exploring, progression and freedom.
Absolutely beautiful. What do you think?
Yet, within a few miles, I already felt tired and ground to a halt.
I've had to stop. Look at this. This terrain is a lot tougher than I thought it would be.
Now, fueled with breakfast, I continued through the most beautiful woodland as I ran through my plans in my head, reminding myself of why I was doing this, for the experience, the adventure, and for change. In the moment, the experience is often not easy, but that's what makes the adventure. That's what gives opportunity for change.
I've just been through the most amazing bit of woodland. Absolutely amazing. I even saw a violet. Exciting for me. And then I realised I'd gone completely the wrong direction. So I've probably added on about a mile and a bit. So I've hit the tarmac again. I'm tired, but it's lovely.
Yep, day 2 and I was already tired. This pack was stupidly heavy. I'd overestimated the strain of the extra weight. My fear of the unknown had made me too cautious. Over-anticipating what I actually needed for this trip, I'd packed too much. And on top of that, my wet feet were becoming increasingly uncomfortable. The map showed a footpath heading directly south. To get there, I first had to cross a busy main road, a noisy interruption to what had been the most serene of mornings. And this is where things started to get a little strange. For a start, the rain that hadn't really bothered me in the magical woodland seemed so much more threatening out in the open. But mostly because I just could not find the entrance to the footpath. Surely this cannot be it. I decided to take my chances. If this turned out not to be the path, my only choice would be to walk back to the busy, noisy main road and add several miles of extra strain to my now sore and blistering feet. It actually started off quite promising, but before long, I was clearly on a path that was meant to be forgotten.
What? That is impossible. What?
Although it was marked on the map, it was very apparent that the landowner would prefer that this route were never walked again. This was crazy. I thought about turning back several times, but I knew I had to press on. Not only was I now way behind schedule, I also needed to get to somewhere half civilized to refill my water bottles, which by now were running low.
Oh my goodness. Excuse me. I get the distinct impression nobody wants you to come down here. Oh, he's got me. Oh no. Here's another one. I'm stuck.
There was no way I was going to cut back to the noisy main road I had crossed earlier and add extra wear to tiring legs and sore feet.
Wow. Hard to know where to go.
If I could only find my way through the next 2 to 3 miles of what should have been a straight and easy path, I might actually make up some time.
Oh, yeah. Don't know if that's wind or rain. Rain. It's pouring down. Got to stop to put my coat on. I've just checked my map and I'm at the spot where I thought, looking at the map and Google Earth, I thought this would be a really good camp spot. I am so glad I stopped early last night. That was the best decision I could have done. It's now about 12:15 and I haven't even got to where I thought I'd be last night, according to my original plan. So things change, you've got to roll with it. Here we go, what's this? Do we bushwhack one last time? Well, hopefully like one. Oh my goodness. They do not want us here, do they? Okay. Cows as well. Just the way it is. Yeah, someone's done this before. Oh, at least the sun's come out. Oh my. Ooh. Right, let's regroup. Well, the last time I walked through a herd of cows, I got chased big time. I just made it to the gate. No chance I can run with a backpack on and blisters on my feet. Let's just hope they stay there. This is where I was hoping there would be a gate. Nope. More shenanigans. I don't know if this is doable. There's hawthorn there. No way. No way. I am not climbing through that. I don't see I've got a choice, to be honest. Gonna have to meet the cows. Right, let's go. Here they come. Oh my goodness. I will, I'll eat you. Well, watch them sneaking up on you. Look, I need to check the map, guys. Can you just buzz off? That'll do. I managed to rip my coat on some barbed wire. Anyway, it's been a pleasure, ladies. You made that fun, didn't you? Cheers. Bye. Thanks. Well, this looks hopeful. This should hopefully lead to a gate, and I can get back to some sort of footpath. Whew. Oh, that made me jump too. Anyway, look what we've got here. Freedom. Freedom. Oh. More delicious wayfarer. All day breakfast. I was very grateful for those ready-to-eat meals and snacks. Honestly, I ate all of mine cold, quick, easy and nutritious. I can't imagine how nice they would have been if I'd bothered to heat them in a pan. Easily available by post from Base Camp Foods with free UK delivery. I've put a link in the description if you're interested. Right, let's get cracking. Ramble. Oh, not quite as bad as the other one. In fact, nowhere near as bad. Quite pretty, actually. Day 2, in reality, was turning out to be more of a challenge than I'd anticipated. Harder than I'd thought. Not steep, just slow, heavy and hard. But having fought my way back to easier and less hostile terrain, I was confident that the worst must be over. And anyway, this was always supposed to be an adventure. The whole plan was to push out into the unknown and explore. I mean, when has an adventure ever been straightforward, uneventful, and convenient? A good definition of adventure should include words like exciting, unusual, and experience,
and would most certainly feature some element of challenge and risk. What a contrast to boredom, having nothing to do, a lack of external stimulation, lack of motivation, or no sense of purpose.
Easy.
I had set out not really knowing what to expect. That was kind of the point, just to push myself to do something different, go somewhere unfamiliar. And I was enjoying it too, a master of my own schedule. And if that schedule changed, I didn't mind at all. Well, as long as I could get back to the train station by day 6. I had made it to Upper Tamar Lake, which is where, when I had been planning the route, I'd anticipated would make for a welcome stop at the end of day 1. Well, I'd made it by day 2, and that was just fine. And it was every bit as welcoming as a lone rough camper could ask. In fact, when I arrived, the cafe had just closed, but the kind staff very kindly made me a coffee. Thanks guys, that little act of kindness really was appreciated. I was also able to make use of the facilities and restock my water supply. The simple things. Just knowing that you have enough water to be going on with gives such a sense of security, a soothing reassurance that tomorrow will take care of itself. But today was not done yet. Now restocked and refreshed, it was time to hit the trail again.
So after quite a challenging day, I'm way behind schedule. I've decided to stick to some tarmac roads, see if I can make a little bit of progress before I set up my next camp, wherever that may be. I'll keep going for another hour, I think.
After crossing the county border from Devon and into Cornwall, it was finally time once again to find a decent hidden camping spot and settle down for the night. And knowing I need a good sleep, somewhere that I won't be disturbed.
Nah. Let's try somewhere else. Hang on. What about down there? Looks promising.
Wild camping is, in theory, simplicity itself, just the basics required to ensure you wake up rested and ready to go the next day.
Is this wet? It's about in here.
In reality, I was to find that living simply takes some practice. Our civil life has ironed out the need to consider what basic survival actually requires.
I'm not sure. No, I can hear cows. Damn. Here we go, what about this? No. Too boggy.
Everything is usually so available to most of us, at the flick of a switch, even the swipe of a thumb.
Dunno. I'm done, I'm going to set up here. Here we go. I'm tucked out the way if I don't want to leave too early in the morning.
I wanted to experience the raw simplicity of trying to survive without the fluff of luxury, just for a few days anyway, and in the process hope to better appreciate what I actually had in life.
It's a bit wet. First job is to dry that out. Well, another good day. I'm tired out, man. So I've got myself in the bivvy quite early. It's about 5:30, I think. Haven't set up the camp mat and the sleeping bag yet. Gonna have something to eat and a really early night.
Starting from my first overnight wild camp spot, I had continued south in as straight a line as I could. Although I did kind of get a bit lost in the woods, I just about avoided having to spend too much time on any main roads. By the day's end, I had so far walked 14.54 miles, or 23.4 kilometres, and since starting at Heartland, a total of 24.13 miles, 38.83 kilometres. Day 3. Hobbling, but happy.
Good morning. Well, it rained a lot in the night, a lot. And I'm back in my... Well, I've got one dry pair of socks with a wet pair on top. Back into my wet boots. Just having some porridge and coffee. I may need to change the plan later. It looks like there's going to be a lot of rain. Sorry, talking with my mouth full. A lot of rain coming in tomorrow. Not quite sure what I'm going to do, but we'll get a few miles under our belt in a second and we'll take it from there. Okay, it's time to stop already for the ceremony of the changing of the maps as I move off my current map onto map 111. Trumpets, please.
It was go time again, and although way behind schedule, this was no time to give way. Looking at the map, there was a very direct route that I could follow to get more miles under my belt, quicker and with less hills. But, as with most change of plan decisions, there was clearly a compromise. I had chosen to leave behind the beautiful, inspiring footpaths to follow a dull and noisy main road. Today would be a day of crossing roads and dodging traffic. I had also by now realised that, though my heavy pack contained most everything I needed, I had forgotten to pack my walking socks. I had socks, but not walking socks. You know, the sort of socks essential if you're planning a long walk. I felt just a little bit stupid. By now my feet were really sore with damp macerated heels and toes. I'll spare the detail, but despite padding them up as best I could, they moaned at me for the whole day. I stopped for a rest, a break, mercy for my feet, annoyed that I had most likely limited my own progress by forgetting such an essential item. But I wasn't immobile. There was no reason to give up. I would just have to take better care of myself with the basics that I had. Nope, I was not giving up. And hauling my now only ever so slightly lighter backpack onto my back, I hobbled on. And finally, leaving the busy road, I settled back down to what was becoming my natural habitat, quiet leafy lanes with verdant views. Again I met with the river, muddied after the rains, and like me headed south towards Plymouth and the coast. Then on across a bridge, over the remains of a dismantled railway, once a route for excited tourists drawn to the coast at Bude in Cornwall, but now long abandoned to allow nature to do her thing and slowly dissolve the memories of times gone by.
Well, I've stopped for lunch. Absolutely shattered. Gonna use a little bit of sunshine.
I had brought enough of these hermetically sealed sachets of wonder to get me through the next few days. The ready meals were convenient and tasty, meaning I could minimise time spent cooking, yet still look forward to meal times. A welcome addition to my backpack, they're easily available by post from Basecamp Foods with free UK delivery. I've put a link in the description if you're interested.
I had to stop and do a sock readjust. Oh, when you start walking, the pain. Oh, and then after a while, you get back into it. I'm just picking up my speed again now. See if I can get a few more miles under my belt before about 5-ish. And then we'll be looking for another cosy campsite. But meanwhile, let's keep going. Oh, hello. Oh, what is this? Oh, people should have more of these. Oh my goodness, that is nice. What? Nope, pub was closed, but I met a nice guy who was caretaker for the chalets, I guess. And he filled up my bottles for me, so 3 bottles of water all topped up. That makes me feel good. Whew. Now it's official, look for somewhere to sleep time. I know it's light, but I want to give myself plenty of time because I've got to dry my tent out if I can and find somewhere decent. Looks a bit like a cow field, but there's no cows right now. Let's see what's down in this corner. Looks more sheep than cow field. I don't mind sheep so much. What about this? Oh no. Completely boggy. No. That's a shame, that's nice. No, too wet. I was a bit worried by that farm over there. I've just moved into this corner. This looks fine. To be honest, I am so tired. I don't actually care anymore. Oh look. Perfect. Here's my campsite. Let's hope no cows come around later. Beautiful. Drying off. Don't know if you can hear that. Here comes the rain. I'm all snug and cosy. I'm right next to a road here, but there's a huge big hedge, so nobody can see me. But I could hear voices a moment ago, hoping for an uneventful, restful night. Good night.
On my third day of walking, I had covered 13.88 miles, or 22.34 kilometres, aided by my change of plan to follow the easier, straighter but busy and noisy road south for a while. From Hartland Point, I had now walked 38 miles, or 61 kilometres. Day 4. Hot food and a Land Rover.
It's 8 o'clock. I'm finally ready to get on my way.
A new day, grey and damp, but I was hopeful I could gain some ground. I set off promptly, hoping to make up a few miles, as it was becoming apparent I'd overestimated how many miles I'd cover per day. I wasn't anticipating an early lucky break though.
Well, I didn't get to film that, but I'd walked about, 200, 300 metres up a hill, not a very big one, and this farmer stops in his Land Rover pickup, offered me a lift. So he's taken me, probably about 3 miles, and he's gone off to his farm. Oh, I did think whether I should catch a lift, but yeah, perfect. It's going to keep me going. This isn't just supposed to be about the walking. This is about what happens on the way. So, yeah. Thanks, mate, whoever you were. Thanks again for the lift. Oh, look. Perfect. It's map change time. Hang on a minute. Even better. Right, change maps. So, we're changing from map 111 to 112. What lovely people. So I stopped to do my map change. Had to take a a layer of clothing off as well, because I've warmed up pretty quick. I was waiting in the bus stop, and this lady with a small child came up and said, "Are you waiting for a bus?" Because apparently there's none running today, so even if I wanted one, I wouldn't get it. Anyway, nice of her to think of me. I guess I look pretty rough and people are feeling sorry for me now. Or they're just genuinely nice people around here. Anyway, that's buoyed me on a bit. I've picked up my pace, which is nice. Let's see where today leads us. I'm just looking west, and I'd say it's lightening up. Should be able to take my coat off soon.
I'd made a timely lunchtime stop at Strawberry Fields, a farm shop, and as you can see, well worth a visit, especially if you've been walking alone in the rain for some time. Easy access from the main A30, it's somewhere I'd definitely revisit if passing again. Coffee, a deliciously cooked roast, dessert and other delicacies were all just too good to miss. Ah, the rejuvenating power and joy of food when life has been stripped back to the very basics. How easy it is to take it all for granted, or even forget what really matters, while we immerse ourselves in things that often don't matter at all. Well anyway, having now thoroughly feasted, it was time for the adventure to continue. Back to that oscillating contrast of busyness and noise. And peaceful, quiet, verdant green. And more wet rain. The obstacles of life are always present, always changing. I just had to make the most of them as I continued to walk on past. To learn that with pleasure comes pain. With pain comes experience, character, acceptance, empathy, success and fulfillment. If I was tired, sure, I could rest a while, but the expectation of what might be around the next corner kept me going. As the road stretched on, I wasn't too sure of the way at this point. I could see hills in the near distance, and so continued heading right for them. The quiet road now becoming steeper and slower as I went, steep and slow, so slow that even the grass had time to grow on it. Once atop the hill, I was again rewarded with another beautiful view west across the Tamar Valley. It really is special, yet so easily overlooked by the thousands of tourists who head through on the main A30 for the busier beaches and resorts. And that is probably a good thing, I figured. The peaceful, quiet character of the area could so easily be lost if too many of those tourists sought to stop here. Instead, I was able to enjoy the company of the locals, happy hens eager to chat, bunnies playing while their mother looks on, red Devon cows spending their time doing cowy things, all the while continuously serenaded by the gentle background soundscape of birdsong, blackbird, robin, and the scrape and crunching beat of my own footsteps. It would be so easy just to drive past a building over 770 years old, for example. I mean, 1252 AD or thereabouts. Imagine living back then. I'm not actually sure it would be that much nicer for a simple traveller like myself. Yet so many must have passed this way since, like me, carrying only the bare essentials as they followed their own journey. Now back onto a footpath, I was tiring. My walking day was coming to another natural end. Setting up camp early seemed to work well, and it was time to repeat the process. As the wind picked up, crawling into my tiny tent and recharging for the next and final day was now, again, the top priority on my mind. This whole looking for a safe and secure sleeping spot where I won't be disturbed or noticed scenario was, I was learning, very much in the hands of fate. It really depended on where I found myself at the tail end of the day and what was available to choose from. Okay, so I'm following this path, kind of a path. Seen worse, but I know it's taking me at least in the direction that I want to go. If I find a suitable campsite on the way, well, that'll be a bonus. The thing with wild camping is you never know if you've got a good successful spot until the next day. Please, please, find me a campsite. Quite sure where I am. I think this might be someone's garden. Oh gosh. This doesn't look right. What about up here? There's steps going up there. Dunno. Oh. No, someone's tried to block this. And I'm too tired to climb. Let's keep going. Oh. What about this? This is a possibility. Oh. Right. This could be tricky. Oh, I need a handrail. Okay, got it. Oh my goodness. Oh no, back on the footpath again. Looks quite well worn. Okay,
So this is brambles. Maybe people don't come out here. Oh, what am I doing? I've just come back. I've just come back to the same path. Okay, not to be.
If anyone had seen me skulking about those woods, I suppose that they would suppose that I was up to no good. Yet, in reality, here I was, a harmless walker, wearily looking for the next most important thing in my life, a safe and secure spot to sleep, somewhere unnoticed where that sleep will not be disturbed, knowing that in the morning I'll be gone, leaving no trace that I had ever been there at all.
Oh my days. It's starting to rain. Well, let's try over here. My criteria is well hidden, no cows, preferably no sheep, not in view. Preferably shorter grass because this looks wet. Oh, let's have a look. Looks like silage again. What about round this corner up here? A solar farm, no houses. There's a farm over there. I'm tired. This might have to do. Yeah, here we are.
Well, it had happened again. The quiet call of the field had beckoned me in. This was my sort of habitat. For the fourth night in a row, I was looking at a field to sleep in. And that, actually, was not a bad feeling. The rain had cleared, and another snug little camp spot was set, leaving me to my own personal serenade from a song thrush, chiff-chaff and robin. Magical. I had walked 14 miles, 22.61 kilometres by the end of day 4. From Heartland on the north coast, I had now covered a total of 52.06 miles, or 83.78 kilometres. Day 5, a change of plan.
It's 5:30 in the morning and it's looking a much better day at last. Okay, it's 7:30. Finally, I'm ready to go. Let's get out of here. Oh, got to hobble on. Just takes me a while to warm up. Here we go then. Oh, I'm hobbling like an 80-year-old. Oh. That's looking a little bit threatening. Beautiful. But will it rain? Okay. Ooh. Oh, oops. So they're running away. I'll take that as a positive. There we go. Hello, boys. All right? Don't you give me no grief. Good boys. That's it. At least you're a bit smaller than the last lot. Mind if I come through? Yeah, cheers. Smile, mate. Oi. Go on. You're a bit close, mate. Back off. I'm watching you. Go! You're getting too close, my friends. Cheeky little beggars. You know, if I was in the same field all day, I'd probably chase everything that came through just to give me something to do. They weren't too bad. Alright, let's keep going. That took my mind off the pain in my feet. Actually picked up the pace. About time. Oh. Look at the view.
I was enjoying these early mornings. I mean, I like a good sleep, but sometimes an early morning start can be magical. And now my aching muscles had warmed up, I was able to settle into a better pace again.
Oh, ouch. I tripped. I thought today would be a good day for shorts. Maybe not. Still, been on worse. Oh. Oh. Oh yeah. That'll do.
This really was a green and pleasant part of the country, and I was immersed in it, enjoying every moment, and yet I knew that I needed another change of plan. There were two main issues. Firstly, I only had a set amount of time for this adventure, as I had to catch my pre-booked train from Plymouth by day 6, tomorrow. Secondly, there was no way I was going to get there at my current pace.
Morning, Barry. Oh, steady on.
Still, I wasn't too worried. I knew that there was a railway line up ahead, reachable in a day's walk at Gunnerslake, and this would take me straight to the city of Plymouth, where I would still have time to explore the lighthouse before having to catch my train home. I'd also heard that it was a beautifully picturesque train ride, and as my railway experience on day 1 had been so enjoyable, I was quite up for repeating it. Reassured by my map, I had settled into a pace comfortable for me. I knew that as the railway station at Gunnerslake was easily within a day's walk from here, I could, based on my current pace, be confident in reaching it in good time. And there's nothing quite like confidence to reassure. With my destination reset, I could just settle down and continue to enjoy the journey. I had brought enough of these hermetically sealed sachets of wonder to get me through the next few days. The ready meals were convenient and tasty, meaning I could minimise time spent cooking, yet still look forward to meal times. A welcome addition to my backpack, they're easily available by post from Basecamp Foods with free UK delivery. I've put a link in the description if you're interested.
Well, I've just sat down in this gateway because it is the official ceremony of falling off the end of the map and going on the next one.
Continuing to head south, I can see Kit Hill and the monument atop its granite summit. A monument of times gone by is actually a chimney stack from the old mine that was worked in this area from 1856 to 1884. I'd already seen a few reminders of Cornwall's industrial past, and I was to see quite a few more before the day's end.
I can hear a river up ahead.
Having now dropped down from the hills and into the valley, I was again approaching the River Tamar. The River Tamar forms the border between the two beautiful counties of Cornwall and Devon. Right now I'm enjoying the Devonshire side as it flows on through the Tamar Valley. The total length of the Tamar is about 61 miles, 98 kilometres, and I'm guessing that I'm somewhere in the middle of its meandering course. Now on over Horse Bridge, the oldest bridge to cross the Tamar, apparently built in 1437. What a fantastic medieval structure. Yes, it obviously lacks the grandeur of a medieval castle or cathedral, but as an essential piece of infrastructure from that time, it still has utility today, and I think it's a beautiful thing. It has 6 arches plus a floodwater arch and allows me to cross again from Devon back into Cornwall. As I continue, I'm once again struck by the peace and quiet of what is now just a minor country road. Yet this ancient highway would once have been a vitally important thoroughfare, the medieval equivalent of the main A30 I went under yesterday. its decline to obscurity clearly demonstrating quite how tech and transport have progressed. Another beautiful woodland. This is Greenscombe Wood, a site of special scientific interest atop a river cliff of our old friend, the River Tamar. As I pass evidence of old mine workings, I suspect it's not always been this beautiful, though it was probably just as dramatic in its own way. Welcome to the White Hart Inn in Chilsworthy, and what turned out to be another fortuitously perfect stop for the most delicious White Hart burger and refreshing local ale. Plus, of course, the all-important daily task of refilling all my water bottles was successfully ticked off the list. We're in the old mineral mining country here. Going back in time, this would have been a busy place. Today, though, nature and passing time have softened the sights and sounds of that industrial past, and I cover several miles where its history seems to be just about holding on to the echo of those times gone by. Though it's not long before I see that the resources of the area are still valued today. Here, local stone is crushed for aggregate, I guess to be used as the foundation for more busy roads built to serve our need for speed and convenience. I could think of a few slower footpaths where this stuff might come in handy too. Oh no, another hill. I thought I'd done the Hill of Hills. What's going on? Still, with every hill in these parts, there is always a view worth looking at. Rolling hills and a ruffled blanket of peaceful greenery. I was heading for my final campsite. Top of the hill! Well, look at that hill. I just walked up that hill. Absolutely shattered. That has got to be worth a like. Go on, gently click that like button. Cheers. Right, let's carry on. Hang on a minute. That's got to be Plymouth. There we go. My first view of the Tamar estuary. Wow. My criteria for my final night was this time a little bit different. I needed to camp close enough to the railway station so I could catch the first train of the morning. After looking online, I figured that rather than wild camping, I would find a serviced campsite that would enable me to begin my transition back to modern living with a decent shower and a brush up. I would be headed for the city with my backpack and would feel better knowing that I was shiny, clean and presentable. After 5 days of walking and 4 nights of sleeping next to hedgerows, I was wondering if I might be looking a little rough. I didn't want to scare anyone. Are you open for campers? Sorry.
The tents, no, it's only camper vans and caravans. Well, do you desperately need somewhere, or?
Be nice.
Yeah, well, you can put your tent up.
It's tiny.
Yeah. I mean, look.
It's absolutely tiny. It's 2 of me, basically. I can just hide somewhere.
Alright. Yeah, come in here. Where have you come from?
Heartland Point.
Quite a beaten track, aren't you?
I'm knackered. Well, I'm going to take the train tomorrow to Plymouth. Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah, that's
So,
it.
was you doing the coastal path then?
No, I thought I'd do like inland a little bit.
Alright, okay.
Yeah,
A little bit.
beautiful.
Well, unless you it's not up to you. If you don't want to be exposed to it, if you're thinking, or you can go down.
Yeah, I can go down there, that's fine.
Alright.
Yeah,
Well,
alright. Oh, lush. This will do nicely. There we go. Tenner to stay here. Lovely. Just what I need. Well, we're nearly finished, apart from a train ride tomorrow, which is supposed to be really nice. What a journey. I'm so tired, I've actually camped on a slope, and I don't care. I had walked 11.23 miles, or 18 kilometres by the end of day 5. This was to be my last full day of walking, though I had stopped slightly earlier once I'd arrived at the campsite for my final night. Since leaving Heartland in the north, I had now walked 63.29 miles, or 101.86 kilometres. Day 6, back amongst the masses. Yep, day 6 had arrived, brighter than the day I started, and the final chapter of my wandering adventure. I left the campsite early, and I didn't see a soul. The Tamar Valley had been welcoming, beautiful and rewarding. Rested and refreshed, I set off again with a spring in my step and the weather on my side, the early morning sun already warming my face as I walked. Reaching the village of Gunnerslake, I headed for the railway station to catch the first train of the day. The station is at the start of a small branch line which winds along the Tamar estuary directly to the city of Plymouth, from where it would be possible to travel to the ends of the wider world, but for me would represent the end of my current adventure.
Morning, can I have a single to Devonport, please?
780 numbers.
Cheers. Great, thank you very much. Cheers.
And so the train squeaked and rattled on, at first through a landscape I'd come to love over the last few days, then onwards over the old Cowstop Viaduct, 120 feet high, the Tamar now maturing to a wider river. Then across Tavy Bridge, where the sister River Tavy merges with the now estuarine River Tamar, swelling it even further. This train ride felt a bit like a time machine. I was gradually returning back to this century, leaving behind all that was peace and quiet, leaving behind the birdsong, the green, and the quiet strength of times gone by, onwards, back to reality, routine, and the future. Travelling from the distant past, from simpler though probably more challenging times, from the ancient rural heartland forwards and on, past Victorian housing built to cheaply house the many dock workers of that era, and forward again to be finally transported back to the present. One train ride through centuries of change, from the deep countryside to the cityscape of Plymouth. Still green but noisy, full of modern lives striving to remain ordered. No more quiet fields. Here the grass is cut in a hurry. But I was relieved to be here. With the help of the train, I'd made it, and my walking time was nearly done. Just a few more miles around the edge of the city to get to my finish point at Smeaton Tower. Well, I had made it to Smeaton Tower, step by step, and with more than a little help from the train, of course. It was originally built between 1756 and 1759 to stand as a lighthouse on the dangerous Eddystone Rocks about 14 miles or 22 kilometres off the southern coast of Plymouth, where over the centuries many ships had been wrecked. After 100 years of tides and battering storms, it needed to be replaced due to erosion of the rocks on which it stood. Much loved and greatly respected, it was taken down and rebuilt on Plymouth Hoe, first opening to the public in 1884. Now it was to serve as a fitting and final destination for my adventure, with a climb to the top to complete my journey. This was a first for me, and if you've not climbed it before and you have the opportunity, I would absolutely recommend it. Although not all I met in there had a head for heights, it was fun and informative. Let me give you a very quick tour. After paying a smallish fee at the front door, it's up the spiral stone staircase to what once would have been the general storeroom. Then further up a set of steps to the oil storeroom. On then up the next stair set to the kitchen, which would also have been the main living area for the 3 lighthouse keepers if they were not on duty or asleep. Then up again to the bedroom, and where personal belongings like clothes would have been stored. The keepers slept in cot beds with sliding doors to afford some privacy, and, unlike my tent, where you could actually sit up in bed if you wanted to. Then on up into the main lantern room, with access to the outside balcony. The original light source would have been a large single chandelier holding 24 candles. This, apparently, is a replica.
Yeah, sir. Could you take a photo
Right.
of me, my son?
Yeah, sure.
If that's okay.
I can't go in there, I can't. That's. Ooh.
If you don't mind, if that's okay. Over this side though? You
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the heights?
Yeah, yeah.
You like that? Beautiful, isn't it?
Lovely.
Absolutely.
Worth the trip, wasn't it?
Absolutely beautiful. Could you take a photo if that's okay? There you go. There he is.
Great stuff.
Lovely jubbly, look. Look at it, look at it. What you got, look. Look at it. Absolutely fabulous. Smeaton's Tower. Get on. Have a lovely day.
You too. Thanks for that. Cheers.
Cheers, my friend.
You're welcome.
Keep it on his foot then. That's it.
Well again.
Easy.
Again. And again.
Cheers, guys.
Hey, take care, buddy. Hey, all the best.
You too, mate.
Take
Cheers.
care, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Walking. What a great thing to do. Each small step had taken me that much further. From my early starting point at sunrise on day 1, ever closer to the end of this magical adventure by sunset on day 6. In total, I had walked around 76 miles or 122 kilometres. But this was just a number. What really mattered was setting the direction and undertaking the journey. Thanks for travelling with me, and please like and subscribe to show your support. We're all on our respective journeys, and when our paths cross, acknowledging these encounters really matters. Now, I'm not saying that going for a walk will solve any of life's problems. It's more a matter of perspective. But I hope in some way I've inspired you, if you can, to try it for yourself. Remove yourself from the daily humdrum. Try something new. Explore another world. Somewhere, anywhere outside of your own. And who knows where it may lead.